Gaza tonight is not just a place on the map, it is a warning. Explosions tear through the darkness, homes turn into dust within seconds, and families vanish before their names are ever known. The images are familiar, yet the shock never fades. Each strike raises the same haunting question. Why does this keep happening? And why does no one stop it? Across the world, people watch these scenes on their screens, scrolling past burning buildings and crying children as if this suffering is routine. Israel says it is acting in self-defense. Palestinians say they are being erased. The international community calls for restraint, then moves on. If this is truly about security, why are civilians always the ones buried under rubble? Hospitals overflow, refugee camps are hit, journalists are silenced, and basic necessities like water and electricity are cut off. These are not hidden facts. They are visible to everyone. Yet, international law, which is loudly defended elsewhere, seems to fall silent when Gaza is under attack. The question is not only what is happening, but why it has become acceptable. To understand today's Gaza, we must step back far beyond the latest headlines. This conflict did not begin with a single rocket or a sudden escalation. It is rooted in decades of occupation, displacement, and control that have shaped every aspect of Palestinian life. Gaza did not become a prison overnight. It was slowly sealed, restricted, and isolated from the world. Israel's actions in Gaza also cannot be separated from its behavior across the region. For years, Israeli airstrikes in Syria were carried out with little global reaction, reinforcing a pattern. Strike first, justify later, and face minimal consequences. This pattern has shaped how power is exercised and normalized. Around the world, many people now describe Israel's actions as terror-like, not as a slogan, but because of the fear, destruction, and collective punishment imposed on civilians. At the same time, Muslim countries issue statements without action, and powerful nations continue to protect Israel through military aid and diplomatic cover. This video is not about religion, hatred, or choosing sides blindly. It is about understanding why violence here feels endless, why silence dominates global politics, and what Israel ultimately seeks through force. Because once you understand the story behind Gaza, you realize this is not just a local conflict, it is a mirror showing how power, injustice, and silence shape the modern world. Homes that once echoed with family voices are now silent piles of rubble. Walls have collapsed, roofs are gone, and entire streets have disappeared. People stand where their houses once stood, trying to recognize corners of their own lives in the dust. Families flee suddenly, carrying nothing but their children. Important papers, clothes, savings, and memories are buried under debris. There is no time to grieve what is lost, because survival comes first. Many people sleep in damaged schools, overcrowded shelters, or unfinished buildings. Others have no shelter at all and sleep in the open. Privacy no longer exists, and safety is never guaranteed. Tents made from plastic sheets and torn fabric offer little protection. Wind passes through easily, and rain turns the ground into mud. Nights are long and painfully cold. Children curl up beside their parents, shaking through the night. Their lips turn blue from cold, and coughing becomes common. There are no blankets to share warmth. Elderly people suffer silently. Cold worsens their illnesses, but there are no medicines and no doctors to help them. Some pass away quietly during the night. Food is extremely limited. Markets are empty, and whatever food appears is far too expensive for most families to buy. Many families survive on one small meal a day. Some days, there is nothing at all. Hunger becomes a constant pain in the stomach. Parents eat less so their children can eat more. Mothers lie to their children, saying they are not hungry while their bodies grow weaker. Babies cry for milk that mothers cannot produce due to stress and malnutrition. Infant formula is almost impossible to find. Children show signs of malnutrition. Their faces become thin, their energy disappears, and their growth slows. Bread becomes the main food. When flour runs out, even bread disappears. People wait in long lines, hoping supplies arrive. Cooking fuel is scarce. Even when food is available, there is nothing to cook it with. Fires are lit using scraps and plastic. Rainwater floods sleeping areas, soaking clothes and bedding. There is no way to dry anything in the cold air. Shoes are lost in the rubble, and many children walk barefoot on broken glass and cold ground. Illness spreads quickly among the hungry and homeless. Weak bodies cannot fight infection. People no longer talk about the future. Conversations focus only on finding food, warmth, and safety for the night. Children ask when they will go home. Parents stay silent because there is no answer. Hunger, cold, and homelessness combine to strip people of dignity. Survival becomes the only goal. This is daily life in Gaza, where basic human needs are turned into unreachable luxuries. And suffering continues without pause. Hospitals that once saved lives now stand damaged, dark, and overwhelmed. Some buildings are partially destroyed, others surrounded by danger, forcing doctors to work under constant fear. Electricity cuts are frequent and long. Operation rooms fall into darkness, and doctors use mobile phone lights to continue surgeries. There is no fuel to run generators. Life support machines stop, ventilators fail, and patients struggle to breathe on their own. Medical supplies are almost gone. Bandages, antibiotics, painkillers, and anesthesia have run out, turning treatable wounds into deadly injuries. Doctors are forced to make impossible choices, deciding who gets treatment and who must wait, knowing waiting can mean death. Children arrive with severe injuries. Their cries fill the halls, but there is little that can be done to ease their pain. Many hospital beds are already occupied. New patients lie on floors, hallways, or outside entrances, bleeding and waiting. Ambulances struggle to move. Roads are destroyed, fuel is scarce, and emergency calls go unanswered. Some doctors have been killed, others injured, and many are displaced along with their families. The few remaining work non-stop without rest. Nurses faint from exhaustion and hunger, but return to work because there is no one else. Cancer patients miss chemotherapy sessions. Kidney patients miss dialysis. Their conditions worsen silently. Diabetic patients cannot find insulin. Blood sugar levels rise dangerously, leading to coma or death. Infections spread quickly. Without antibiotics, even small wounds become life-threatening. Pregnant women arrive in labor with no proper care available. Deliveries happen without sterile tools or pain relief. Complications during childbirth turn fatal because emergency surgeries cannot be performed in time. Premature babies lack incubators, warmth, and oxygen. Many do not survive their first days. Hospitals are no longer safe spaces. Fear replaces hope inside their walls. Families wait outside emergency rooms, praying for miracles that medicine can no longer provide. Doctors carry guilt that will stay with them forever, knowing they could have saved lives if resources existed. This is not a shortage caused by lack of knowledge, it is a collapse forced by blockade, destruction, and neglect. Clean water has become a rare and dangerous luxury. Water pipes are damaged, pumping stations are shut down, and fuel to operate them is unavailable. Families collect water from unsafe sources, unsure if it will make them sick. But, having no other choice, children drink contaminated water and soon fall ill. Diarrhea and dehydration spread rapidly, especially among infants. Mothers struggle to find clean water to prepare food or infant formula. Many dilute meals just to make them last longer. Shelters are overcrowded. Dozens of families share small rooms meant for a few people, breathing the same air day and night. There are not enough toilets. People wait in long lines or are forced to relieve themselves in open areas. Sewage systems are damaged. Waste flows through streets, mixing with rainwater and entering living spaces. The smell becomes unbearable. Flies and insects gather, spreading disease from waste to food. Trash piles up because garbage services have stopped. Rotting waste surrounds tents and shelters. Children play near garbage and sewage because there is nowhere else to go. Skin infections and rashes become common. There is little soap and no disinfectant. Hand washing becomes impossible, even after using toilets. Wounds cannot be cleaned properly. Minor cuts turn into serious infections. Respiratory illnesses spread quickly in damp, crowded shelters. Coughing becomes constant. Elderly people grow weaker as infections take hold. Their immune systems cannot fight back. Hospitals are already overwhelmed and cannot treat sanitation-related illnesses. Clean clothes are rare. Families wear the same wet garments for days. Women face severe hardship managing hygiene in these conditions, especially during menstruation. Children miss basic vaccinations, increasing the risk of outbreaks. Disease spreads quietly, without explosions or headlines. This crisis grows silently, turning water and sanitation into another weapon against survival. Aid trucks wait at borders, while people inside Gaza grow weaker with each passing hour. Promises are made on television, but very little reaches those who are suffering. When aid does enter, it is not enough. One box of food must feed many families. One medical kit is shared until it is empty. People stand in long lines, hoping for assistance, often returning empty-handed. Disappointment becomes routine. Pregnant women suffer in silence. Many are undernourished, exhausted, and living in unsafe conditions. There is little prenatal care. Checkups, vitamins, and supplements are unavailable or impossible to access. Some women go into labor in shelters, tents, or ruined buildings, without doctors or midwives. Childbirth happens without pain relief, sterile tools, or emergency support. Fear replaces safety. Complications during delivery become life-threatening. Bleeding, infections, and premature births claim lives. Newborn babies face cold temperatures, hunger, and lack of medical care from their first moments. Mothers struggle to breastfeed due to stress, trauma, and lack of nutrition. Mental trauma affects everyone. Children wake up screaming from nightmares, reliving bombings. Some children stop speaking altogether. Others show sudden aggression or deep withdrawal. Parents carry unbearable guilt for not being able to protect their children. Families mourn quietly, often without proper burials or time to grieve. People live in constant fear, listening for sounds of danger, even in moments of silence. There is no sense of safety, even during supposed ceasefires. The future feels erased. Education, careers, and dreams feel meaningless. Hopelessness spreads faster than aid. Despair becomes a daily companion. Yet people continue to survive, not because life is easy, but because giving up is not an option. This is the unseen damage of warfare, breaking of minds, spirits, and generations. As the dust settles after each attack, Gaza is left counting what remains rather than what was lost. Families search for familiar faces in shelters and hospitals, hoping that silence does not mean death. Every new day begins not with plans, but with questions about survival. The world often sees numbers, not people. Casualty counts replace names, and statistics replace stories. Behind every number is a child who wanted to grow up, a mother who wanted to protect her family, a father who wanted to work and live with dignity. Silence from powerful nations feels louder than the bombs. Statements of concern are repeated, while real action is delayed or blocked. For those living in Gaza, this silence feels like abandonment. This suffering is not accidental or unavoidable. It is the result of decisions, policies, and choices made far away from the rubble. Hunger, illness, and homelessness did not appear on their own. Children are growing up knowing only fear, loss, and uncertainty. Trauma is shaping a generation before it has a chance to dream. Yet, even in this destruction, people hold on to humanity. They share food they do not have, comfort strangers, and care for children who are not their own. Gaza is not asking for sympathy alone. It is asking for dignity, safety, and the right to live as human beings. History will remember what happened here, but it will also remember who spoke, who acted, and who stayed silent. This is not just Gaza's story. It is a test of global conscience, and the outcome will define our shared humanity.